has been a minute. I am happy to see you again. We are back for a new season here in the Cozy Kitchen. If you have been searching for a chicken dish in a delicious sauce that comes with vegetables, look no further than this video. Today we are making chicken Florentine. Chicken Florentine is one of those dishes where you can sneak in the vegetables. In chicken Florentine specifically, it's spinach. So we're gonna be adding in some spinach in this really delicious sauce that's gonna come together relatively quickly. I am so excited to share it with you. So let's get to it. Let's make some chicken Florentine. Just to give you an idea of what is going on right now here in the Cozy Kitchen, all I have is my one medium saute pan. It has a little bit of depth to it. You are gonna want something with a lid because we are going to finish off the chicken today in that pan with the lid on. For today's recipe, I'm gonna be making 2 portions of chicken Florentine, one for me, one for the hubby if he's good. So the very first thing that you wanna do for the chicken Florentine is get your flour mixture ready. I have my all-purpose flour right here. For our flour mixture, which is gonna make sure that our chicken is nice and lightly browned on both sides, the very first thing that you're gonna need is 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. You just wanna pour that right onto your plate. The next thing that you're gonna want for that flour mixture is gonna be about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. After you add in that garlic powder, the next thing that you're gonna wanna add to that flour mixture is about 1/8 teaspoon of dried thyme. That thyme has like a lemony, minty, sort of peppery flavor, just so that it brings a little bit of warmth to the chicken and makes for a nice, tasty bite. The final thing for this flour mixture is just gonna be about 1 tablespoon or so of grated Parmesan cheese. Once you add in that grated Parmesan, you can just toss all of those ingredients together on that plate and get it ready for our chicken. Speaking of chicken, that is the next thing that we're gonna work on for our chicken Florentine. I have 2 chicken breasts. What we wanna do is get a knife and just go through the thickest part of that chicken all the way through, open it up and butterfly it. And then you can either keep that chicken as either one larger portion or cut it right in half so that you have 2 smaller portions of chicken for the dish. I just finished butterflying my 2 chicken breasts. I have 4 nice even cutlets right here. The next thing that you're gonna wanna do is hit these chicken cutlets with a generous amount of kosher salt and black pepper on both sides. Once you've seasoned both sides of that chicken, you can go over to the stove to that medium saute pan, add in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil and raise the heat to medium high. While that oil raises in temperature, we're gonna dredge our chicken into our flour mixture. Now that my chicken is coated on both sides with that flour mixture and that oil is raising in temperature, now's a good time to talk about what are we gonna serve with this chicken Florentine. For today's recipe, I am just gonna be making chicken Florentine in this video. My favorite way of eating chicken Florentine is serving it over a little bit of white rice, allowing for that sauce and all of the delicious flavors to kind of absorb into the rice, enjoying it with the spinach, and that way you have the protein, the vegetable, and the carb. I would also suggest maybe trying it with some roasted potatoes, some roasted sweet potatoes. You don't want to go crazy on the seasoning, whatever you serve with the chicken Florentine, because you want the flavors of the chicken Florentine to really shine, and you want the sauce to kind of absorb into whatever you might serve this dish with. My oil is now fragrant, which means that it is time to add 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter into that oil before we add in our chicken. I just added my butter into that pan with the oil. It's sizzling hot and it is ready for our chicken to be added into that pan. We want to cook the chicken for about 4 to 5 minutes on both sides. We don't want to cook it all the way through. We're going to finish cooking it in the sauce at the end, but you want to make sure that you get a nice brown on both sides of that chicken. Then we'll set it aside and get our sauce going in that same pan, add it back in and finish it off. I got 3 of the 4 cutlets in that pan, good enough. You just want to make sure that you don't overcrowd the pan when you're cooking the chicken. So I have 3 cutlets in there. I'll do a second round before we start our sauce. While that chicken cooks in that pan, the next thing that we can do is start to get some of our ingredients ready for our really quick, really simple sauce. The very first thing that you're going to need for our sauce is going to be 1 medium shallot. We're just going to finely chop that shallot up and then set it aside. As the chicken cooks in that oil, you'll notice that bottom side of that chicken will start to brown, and that will tell you that it is time to flip the chicken over and get it going on the other side. After it cooks for about 3 minutes, we'll take it out of the pan, set it aside, get our last piece of chicken in that pan, do the same thing, and then we'll work on our sauce. Speaking of sauce, I have my first ingredient here for my sauce ready to go. It's that one medium shallot that I just finely chopped. The next thing that you're going to need for our sauce is going to be 2 garlic cloves that we're going to mince up, and you can set that aside. While I was just chopping that garlic, I remembered one of the reasons why I love this recipe is there is not a lot of chopping to do, which means that there is not a lot of cleanup. Always makes for a really simple, really easy weeknight meal. So Chicken Florentine, keep it on the radar. I just took that 4th piece of chicken out of that pan, added it to the rest. Now we're going to start to work on our sauce. We already have our first 2 ingredients, the shallot and the garlic, here ready to go. That medium saute pan is going to stay on the stove. We're going to lower the heat to medium and add in 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. After you've added in that butter, you're then going to want to add in about a half a cup of white wine, stirring in that butter in the white wine, scraping up all those little bits that might have stuck to the pan. Once that white wine has been added into that pan, we're then going to take our shallot, throw that in there, hit it with a pinch of kosher salt, and give that all a stir. If you don't want to use white wine for this recipe, you can substitute the white wine for a low sodium chicken broth and get that in there with the unsalted butter. Once that shallot begins to soften, we're going to add in our 2 minced garlic cloves, mix that all in. In the traditional chicken Florentine, the next ingredient that you would typically add would be heavy cream. Heavy cream is not something that we typically have in our fridge. So instead of heavy cream, today I'm going to be using oat milk. As long as that oat milk is unflavored, oat milk is a great substitute for heavy cream. It's still going to give that nice rich thickness to the sauce, but it's going to cut the amount of fat in this dish by a significant amount. If you decide to use heavy cream, that is totally fine. You can go with the heavy cream option. Either way, you're going to want 1 cup of either oat milk or heavy cream to add in. After you've added in that oat milk or heavy cream, you're also going to want to add in just about a tablespoon of all-purpose flour. That flour is just going to help thicken the sauce. You want to stir that right in. And then finally, we want to add 1 final tablespoon of unsalted butter. Mix that all in, and then once that sauce is all cohesive, we're going to add our chicken back into the dish, finish it off with the spinach, and then we'll eat. After you've added that chicken back into the pan with the sauce, you can add in a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. And then our final ingredient, and really the star of the show, I have about 4 cups of baby spinach here in this bowl, already washed, ready to go. We're going to add this baby spinach into that pan with the chicken and the sauce, cover the pan, turn the heat off, and allow that spinach to wilt into that sauce on top of that chicken. After about 4 or 5 minutes, we can take everything out and serve. After about half of that spinach has wilted, we can start to plate. I'm going to add in the spinach that's at the very top first and put that at the bottom of the plate, and then add in the chicken on top, and then finally drizzle over that sauce that's at the bottom of the pan. Right before I serve, I always like to hit it with just 1 final dash of grated Parmesan, and then there's nothing else to do but eat. And here we have it, guys. Chicken Florentine. The chicken is served on this nice bed of spinach. That spinach has wilted down. I'm telling you right now, I tried a little bit of that sauce while I was plating. You do not need the heavy cream. The oat milk is still going to make for a really nice thick sauce, and you're going to cut the fat in this dish down significantly if you do that. It smells so good. I can't wait any longer. I have to dive in and go for a bite. I got my bite here. We have that spinach, the chicken, all in that sauce. There are so many reasons to love Chicken Florentine. 1, the bite that I just had was incredible. The dish came together in less than about 40 minutes, and that includes me talking to you as well. You get the protein, you get the vegetables, and this nice tasty sauce that comes together really quickly. You can serve it with a carb, so you get all 3 in one meal. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Check out some of the other recipes. I'm going to go have some more Chicken Florentine. See you soon.